think I'm like her in the sense that we don't indulge in the gossip. We don't listen to what people say about us. You just have to turn a blind eye to it. People are gonna talk, and you can't be hurt by that. You can't listen to that. And she's really striving. These days, I live my whole life. It's easier to fall into that, like talking about someone else and when you stick up for someone, you're going out on a limb when a whole group is making fun of someone. But I really tried to have some honor in my life.
Well, nothing against, like, I love a good hysterical female song, but not like hysterical in like a charged, great, empowered way. It's just like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That sound
It's
that's
not
like
cheesy.
a little,
It's not cheesy.
And anyways, women are people of multitudes, and I think that it was important to me that it didn't just feel like someone's interpretation of like male gaze. Like, it really was, this is what we like, this is what we listen to, this is what makes us feel these vibes.
Hollywood's golden couple is crumbling in real time, and the internet won't let them forget it. Blake Lively has vanished from public view for 3 months, while Ryan Reynolds faces a career-threatening scandal that started with 8 seconds of footage. What began as a feel-good documentary premiere has exploded into a full-blown reputation crisis, with fans questioning whether Canada's supposed sweetheart might actually be Hollywood's biggest fake. The incident happened at what should have been Reynolds' triumphant moment. He was promoting his John Candy documentary, basking in the warm glow of celebrating a beloved comedy legend. Then a young reporter approached with innocent questions, and everything went sideways. Instead of the charming dad-next-door response fans expected, Reynolds delivered a cold, dismissive brush-off that left viewers stunned. The 8-second clip spread like wildfire across every platform imaginable. Within hours, comment sections exploded with outrage. Words like disgusting and heartless dominated the conversation. The carefully constructed image that made them untouchable is now their greatest liability, and every desperate attempt to fix it only makes things worse. The way entertainment outlets handled this controversy revealed Hollywood's ugly truth about manufactured loyalty. Publications that once treated Reynolds like comedy royalty suddenly went radio silent on defending him. Instead, they've discovered something more profitable than praise: controlled destruction. Major outlets continue posting glamorous photos from his events, complete with glowing captions about his red carpet appearances. But here's the sinister part. They leave comment sections wide open, knowing exactly what will happen. Within minutes, brutal criticism floods in, tearing apart the very image these articles pretend to celebrate. It's weaponized engagement, and it's working perfectly. Social media teams have mastered this dark art. They strategically place Reynolds' photos first in event carousels, ensuring no one can scroll past without seeing his face and leaving their thoughts. The reactions are savage, and the outlets know it. They're not accidentally allowing this massacre, they're orchestrating it. The hypocrisy is staggering. These platforms claim to support their celebrity subjects while secretly profiting from their public destruction. For Reynolds, it's a masterclass in how quickly Hollywood's protection can become exploitation when the engagement metrics demand blood. After 3 months of mysterious silence, Blake Lively finally emerged from hiding at a beauty industry conference in New York. Her team clearly hoped this would be her triumphant return to relevance, a polished reintroduction that would remind everyone why she matters. Instead, it became a masterpiece of cringe that raised more questions than it answered. The red flags started outside the venue. Videos showed a pathetically small group of supposed fans waiting for her arrival, so underwhelming that whispers began immediately about whether these encounters were authentic. The most damning evidence came in a viral clip showing a fan taking a selfie with Blake while holding the phone completely upside down, something no genuine fan would ever do. Even more suspicious was Blake's sudden personality transformation. This is a woman who has never been known for stopping to sign autographs or engage with random supporters. Yet here she was, practically glowing with artificial sweetness, eagerly posing and chatting like she'd discovered fan interaction for the first time. The timing felt beyond convenient. After months of her husband's PR disasters, Blake's newfound friendliness looked less like genuine warmth and more like calculated damage control. The performance was so obvious that even casual observers could see through the desperation. Inside the conference, Blake's carefully orchestrated comeback continued to unravel in real time. Multiple attendees described her presentation as scattered, nervous, and completely unlike the confident woman who once dominated Hollywood interviews with effortless charm. She rambled through talking points, repeated herself multiple times, and appeared visibly uncomfortable on stage. At one point, she actually apologized to part of the audience for having her back turned to them, drawing even more attention to her obvious discomfort. For someone who built her career on poise and control, it was jarring to witness. This timid, insecure version of Blake felt like a complete performance designed to generate sympathy. Body language experts who once analyzed her interviews noted her previous commanding presence, describing someone who could dominate any conversation with ease. Yet here she stood, positioning herself as overwhelmed and vulnerable. Industry insiders reported that audience attention visibly drifted as she spoke, with many attendees looking bored or distracted during her rambling segments. What was meant to be a powerful relaunch of her public image instead highlighted how desperately the couple might be trying to rewrite their entire narrative. The disconnect between her past confidence and current fragility felt too convenient, too perfectly timed to be genuine. It was damage control disguised as authenticity, and the audience wasn't buying it. If Blake's words couldn't save her comeback, her team clearly hoped her outfit would do the heavy lifting. Within hours of her appearance, major fashion outlets flooded the internet with suspiciously coordinated headlines praising her so-called return to style. Vogue, People, and countless others described her look as eccentric, bold, and trend-setting. The problem was obvious. Real people weren't seeing what these publications claimed to see. Online reactions mocked her chocolate brown ensemble as dated and unflattering. Many compared it to outdated trends or described it as frumpy. The disconnect between professional praise and public opinion was impossible to ignore. Headlines like "Blake Lively launches fall fashion" and "Blake Lively stuns in netted ensemble" appeared across multiple platforms within hours, all echoing identical talking points that felt suspiciously coordinated. The language was too similar, the timing too perfect, the enthusiasm too manufactured. For critics, this revealed the machinery behind celebrity image management. The same outlets profiting from Ryan's controversies were simultaneously working overtime to rehabilitate Blake's brand. It was a perfect example of how Hollywood's PR machine operates, selectively supportive based on which narrative generates more engagement. The orchestrated fashion coverage only deepened public suspicions that nothing about this couple's recent public appearances was genuine. Every move felt calculated, every moment curated for maximum sympathy and minimal authenticity. While Blake struggled in New York, Ryan managed to alienate his most loyal fanbase back home in Canada. He proudly promoted a t-shirt he claimed was designed by a Canadian artist, positioning it as a patriotic tribute to his roots and connection to home. Canadian fans quickly discovered the crushing irony. The shirt wasn't even available through Canadian retailers. Instead, it was sold exclusively through an American online shop that didn't ship to Canada. The man who built his brand around Canadian identity was now exploiting that connection while making it impossible for actual Canadians to support it. But the t-shirt controversy was just the beginning. At the Toronto International Film Festival, Ryan was caught in another moment that revealed his true character. When beloved Canadian actor Eugene Levy approached him during an interview, Ryan's greeting was dismissive and condescending. His "welcome to the fray" comment, complete with an exaggerated hand gesture, felt like he was talking down to a comedy legend. For many Canadians, this was the final betrayal. Here was someone who constantly leveraged his Canadian identity for Hollywood success, yet treated actual Canadian icons with obvious disrespect. The incident crystallized growing suspicions that his entire proud Canadian persona was just another calculated brand element. His disconnect from the very community he claims to represent couldn't have been more obvious or more damaging to his reputation. Ryan's most hyped project, the John Candy documentary, was supposed to be his redemption story, a chance to celebrate a beloved comedy legend while cementing his own reputation as a cultural ambassador. Instead, it became another example of his tendency to make everything about himself. Despite being credited as a producer, industry insiders claim his actual involvement was minimal, possibly limited to lending his famous name for promotional value. But the real controversy came from how he used promotional interviews to talk about his own mother, instead of focusing on Candy's incredible legacy. Ryan framed the documentary as a tribute to his mother because she loved Candy's films, essentially hijacking a national treasure's story to create a personal narrative. For critics, it was the ultimate example of his self-absorption, finding a way to make even John Candy's celebration about Ryan Reynolds. Questions mounted about his actual contributions to the project. Some alleged he worked on it for only a handful of days, raising doubts about whether he deserved producer credit at all. Others pointed out his attempt to rope in Bill Murray by using his young son to make the pitch, which many found manipulative and inappropriate. What should have been a unifying celebration of Canadian comedy became another vanity project that highlighted Ryan's growing disconnection from both his peers and his audience. The pattern was becoming impossible to ignore. As all these scandals converged, the original sin that started everything, Ryan's dismissive treatment of a child reporter, continued haunting every attempt at rehabilitation. The clip kept circulating, gathering new viewers who couldn't believe what they were seeing. For many, it symbolized everything wrong with his current trajectory. Arrogance disguised as humor, disconnection masked as charm. The backlash hasn't remained contained to Ryan alone. Blake's awkward comeback attempt, the obviously planted fan encounters, the over-coordinated fashion coverage, everything is now being viewed through the lens of desperation and manipulation. Together, they no longer look like Hollywood's golden couple. They look like celebrities in free fall, scrambling to control a narrative that's completely escaped their grasp. The public response has been brutal and unforgiving. Fans and critics alike are calling out the disconnect between their curated image and their actual behavior. The more they attempt to spin and control the story, the more transparent and desperate their efforts appear. For a duo who once ruled entertainment headlines with effortless charisma and genuine likability, the transformation is stunning. The empire they built on authenticity and charm is crumbling under the weight of their own artificiality. Every PR move backfires, every public appearance feels calculated, and every attempt at damage control only confirms what audiences already suspect: that the people they fell in love with never really existed at all.